Yo, what's up, guys? I hope everything's fine with everyone. There's a little boat. Very cool. Um, Today I'll talk about the importance of being in nature. You hear the birds chirping, you see the water where the boat is kind of floating on. Yeah, there's a bunch of fucking grass. That's cool. Today I'll talk about nature and its importance. We've literally evolved or developed millions and millions of years, and then we were like, fuck all this shit, let's let's leave it behind. Let's just build these square boxes of bricks. Let's just live in that shit. I mean, I know people have lived in houses since people have existed, and in caves and shit, but never like this before. Also our clothing is fucked. It's all like polyester and whatnot, which really blocks your pores. I mean, there's even a book about it. I don't remember the name of the book, but it basically stated that polyester or any kind of plastic gets turned into estrogen and other type of hormonic shit, which fucks you up big time. So it's better to just wear wool or cotton or anything people have worn for thousands of years. Like, that's the thing. The same for shoes. I mean, look at this shit. They're dope. 25 bucks, Temu. Cheap as fuck, but the quality is decent, but the material is not. It's a bunch of plastic and whatnot. And I really think I try to walk as barefoot a lot of the times. Actually, I try to walk barefoot a lot of the times. But I think I should just do it all the time and go for a barefoot walking. Yeah. Just looking at the insects hopping from one blade of grass to another, it's very interesting. They're just doing their thing. If you look in nature, everywhere you look, trees don't judge each other. They don't think, oh, that tree is fat, that tree is stupid. No, they're just trees, man. Because there's no such thing as a perfect tree. There's no such thing, because all the trees are perfect. The same goes for human beings. Some of us are fat, stupid, smart, thin. Who gives a flying fuck? It doesn't fucking matter. If you look at nature, you just see all the animals, they just do what they're supposed to do. All the trees, they just do what they're supposed to do. I'm pretty sure the Buddha said something in these lines too. That's where I got it from, I think. But it's so interesting. If you spend a lot of time in nature, you just start to understand your inner nature better, because you just realize everything is perfect the way it is, and resisting anything will just make it worse. It's already perfect. Literally. Life is perfect. You are perfect. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. If that's in hell, then that's in hell. And there's this famous quote: if you're in hell, then why stop there? So just keep going. If you're in heaven, well, congrats. That's pretty fucking amazing. But if you're somewhere in between, which I guess is most people, then yeah, you're just exactly where you're supposed to be. There's no guidebook or anything. Like, I believe God exists for sure, but the Bible is not necessarily a guidebook written by God. I mean, people wrote that stuff. Maybe God wrote it, I don't know, but it's old and lost in translation. There's a lot of good stuff in it though, but what I'm trying to get at is there's no definitive guidebook for humanity, let alone an individual. So just go out in nature sometimes. It's so good because being in cities is kind of cool. I mean, we always, create cities because we like being with each other. So it's nice. The big cities are not so nice, but being with people is cool. You have all the stores and all these You know, things human beings have created to make it easier on themselves, but the joke is on us because it's on them, on us, because whatever we create to make life easier makes it just a lot more harder. I ever thought about that? Like, we have everything we need. We live richer than people lived 200 years ago. Like a king, a king, like a fucking king who owned like castles and had multiple women to fuck and had like a bunch of cows to kill for him for one night to eat and maybe to fuck. I don't know. These kings were weird guys. I don't know what they did, but they just like they owned people, man. They had slaves. They had hundreds of thousands of people below them. Kind of like right now, we still have kings and shit, just different. But they didn't have junk food. They didn't have Netflix. They didn't have any of this shit, man. They didn't have any of this shit, and they were already very depressed by far. I'm convinced most of the kings were depressed because they didn't know what to do with the riches, so it went to their heads, and then they just started fucking around and drinking wine. I mean, I don't think Game of Thrones type shit really went down, but I think some of the stuff, it's not. I don't think it's historically correct. Game of Thrones is obviously created for entertainment purposes, but the scenery is right. I think they didn't have any other drugs. Otherwise, they would have done. Otherwise, all these kings would have been stoners. They would have sniffed all the coke of all the queens and mistresses' butts, and I don't know, fucking know, and princesses. They just didn't have that shit. Now poor people, they go to the corner of the street, they get fucking heroin, they get anything. You can watch porn online, which gives you a very cheap, disgusting dopamine hit, which destroys your brain literally. But still, you can get anything right now. You can get more. I mean, if you imagine you've lived 50 years ago, and just imagine that, or 100 years ago. You're a farmer, or I mean, industrialism already existed, but you're working in a factory, whatever. Just if you then imagine like what the future would be like, a lot of people in the 50s said flying cars. Sure, didn't really happen, but anything else happened. Everything they didn't think about happened. Like if you would tell anyone that you could just talk to a fucking camera, they would even be like, what the fuck is a camera? And then you'd have to explain that. They would think you're a fucking witcher. Then they would have to like stick up your ass and burn you alive or throw you in a fucking well because they thought you're not well. That's the whole thing. That's what went down, and now everything is like so normalized. It's like it's become so normal to go to a store and to get fruits from different countries from all over the world. Like 100 years ago or 200 years ago, you didn't have any of that. You didn't have like maybe even you didn't maybe have like 80% of what you have in stores now. You just have everything locally grown, biological, a lot better in general. But still, it's good to be grateful for this stuff. There's so much stuff we get. We have television. I mean, television sucks actually. Not gonna lie, it's really ruined a lot of people their lives. But it's their choice to watch that shit. Anyways, we have everything, man. Just think about it. We have electrical bikes. Like, what the fuck, man? Bikes were created to make walking easier. Then cars were invented so that you didn't have to use a bike anymore. And then they're like, yo, but people like to pretend that they are healthy. So let's just make everything electrical. And let's just, put so much, let's just not make them work very much anymore. Like, Wally is happening, guys. Wally is fucking happening. We're just not smart enough to do it out in space, but Wally is happening right here. We don't even need robots because, for what it's worth, we've turned ourselves into robots actually. Just going to work 8 hours a day, fulfilling stupid duties nobody gives a flying fuck about, and then getting home and like another program that the robot has, you just press play, watch videos, pornographic or just graphic videos, YouTube, films, whatever. It's stupid. Like, just go out in nature. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is crisp, man. This is crystal clear. You don't get these kinds of greens on a television screen, no matter what they say. It's different. But there's this weird thing with this hyper reality that's going on. Like, we have television screens that look more dark than the night. We have television screens that their colors look more vivid and the pixels are like more put together, that it seemingly looks more vivid than real life. But that's the whole point. It's not real life. It doesn't actually look more vivid than real life because it's not real life. It's an illusion. It's just something created by your brain. And honestly, what does it matter how crisp these colors are? You're still watching a series. You're still wasting time. You're still just sitting down on your ass. Like, human beings are not supposed to sit down except for eating and resting, not for like whatever the fuck we're doing now, or making music. Yeah, like, we can sit down obviously, but like not hours and hours every day. It's not good. When you work, you're supposed to be working with your mind and your body, not just with your mind. And even people who work with their mind and sit down on a desk, they don't really work with their mind. It's also just automated tasks. I feel like it's changing though. I believe it's changing, but it's just because I don't buy into that kind of crap, so I'm not surrounded by that kind of people anymore. But who knows? Fuck, man, just listen to these birds, man. Like, I have a fucking Sony MX 1000 version 3 or something. Now there's a 5th version or 6th version. It has the best noise cancelling on the market. It has all these features, man. And it sounds amazing. And when you put it on, like, I'm not bashing on electronics, okay? They have made the world so much better. Like someone said, the internet made the best and the worst parts of human beings into existence. They just amplified it. And if you use it wisely, all these electronics, they can, you can become a millionaire. You can fly to the Himalayas, become a monk if that's what you're into. You can become anything. You can do anything in this day and age, which was not possible 50 years ago, which is fucking amazing and insane. You can set up businesses, you can start a YouTube channel with no subscribers, and just fucking share your thoughts. No one could do any of this shit like even 30 or 40 years ago. That's pretty dope. I'm not bashing on electronics, just on the negative side of it, which I've been stuck in for years. Basically what I'm getting at is I have this Sony headphone. I believe in electromagnetic frequencies that are not great for our brain, because just my personal experience, if I listen to Bluetooth all day, even soft music, I just feel more tired and exhausted in general. And I know a lot of people have this feeling actually. I know some scientific papers say technically it doesn't affect us, but how the fuck would they know? From my personal experience and from what I've heard from others, it does have an impact. It's also normal. I mean, it's fucking waves, literally like waves we can't even see, that never existed before. I mean, they kind of existed, but we just didn't really use them. Everything existed before it was created. Nothing was ever created. Everything was just reinvented. Everything already existed, but when Nikola Tesla, I think he invented Bluetooth actually, human beings were never exposed to that, like for the past 10,000 years or something, since we came into existence. So it's like normal that that's probably not gonna work very well. Anyways, point I'm getting at is, look at these birds, man. You probably don't hear them very well. It's just so nice, like, what are we doing? Spending 8 hours a day working, grinding, and you need to work. You need to do something in this world. Like, being lazy is gonna make you depressed, and if you're depressed, you're gonna spread that vibe, and people will feel your depression, and that's not good. Everyone should be working, either creatively, with the mind, mathematically, whatever the fuck you're into. Not forced by a society. But still, it's a choice. Most people just go with it. They're just like, oh, my parents tell me to do this, so I'm just gonna do it because I'm a pussy actually, and I just don't dare to rebel or revolt. So I'll just do what everyone tells me because I'm too much of a pussy to follow my own instincts. That's literally what it is. But these fucking birds, man, they're so beautiful. Like, what are we doing? Doing all of that shit. Like, you can just sit in nature. You know, nature and chill. What is all this Netflix and chill? Nature and chill. And it's just so good. It's just so fucking good. I just sit in grass and listen to animals make mating sounds and possibly do it. I don't know. It's fucking spring. And this is the best, man. I haven't watched the series in I think at least a month or longer, and it's. I mean, I had a big addiction, so it's been years since I've trying to taper off of that drug, you could say. But this is Netflix, man. The nature. Why watch a nature documentary if you can just get the real thing? Because it is so fucking good. I'm also walking barefoot, feeling the grass. This is like scientific studies now that prove grounding is very good. Sunbathing, air bathing, which basically means walking around naked. It's probably best to not do that in public. Although I won't stop you. Like, it's healthy, so just go with the flow. But don't tell me I said that. Another boat. Yeah, this is good.